The Democrat Party as an institution at every level, its judges, its lawyers, its community activists, and its politicians, exists to serve these criminal thugs. We see it here in D.C. We talk to the cops. They say, we're not allowed to arrest anybody, and then when we do arrest somebody, then they're immediately bailed out, they're immediately released, they're immediately set free, we arrest them again, they're back on the street again, and what do? They kill, they attack, they rob, they rape. Why would we put up with this? Right? These are society destroyers. This is a simple choice. You either side with civilization or you side with anarchy and violence. And so President Trump is proud to be using federal law enforcement and our National Guard to make this city safe and peaceful for Americans, and he stands ready to help and assist any community that wishes to be liberated from these criminal elements that are such a dire threat to the freedom and tranquility of the American people. Thank you.
On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle, and yes, these times are very interesting indeed, as we're heading into a time where it's going to be an information war, and it's still an information war, but at the same time, we've got an offensive that's happening. Now, again, if you look at the polls right now, they say Trump's losing. If you look at all the information that's coming out of the deep state, and even some of the people on our side of the fence, it's all as nigh, and of course we're losing, Trump's health is bad, and yada, yada, yada. But the reality, I think, is probably much different. And I think this is fear really kicking in. I think it's, well, people that are panicking. They know that the pardons that they got from Biden's auto pen are probably not going to stick. They know that their time is up. They know their money's running dry. They know they are losing everywhere. And every time they have a district judge that tries to stop them, we get the appellate court and or Supreme Court to rule in the favor of the Constitution, always. All these things are going to be covered today. And I thought, yeah, we'd start a little different. It's Sunday. I'm having a good day. And we've got some interesting thing here. I want to point this out. Now, this is Governor Newsom's official site. His Newsom press office site, but it's great checked. Like it's legit. Too legit to quit. Hi. It is showing Q. Now, I believe he's trolling our side of the fence. I think he's actually trolling us. And I find that most people don't get totally crazy aggressive when it comes to posts, comments, stuff like that. But it's teeny tiny, weeny, itty bitty percentage on both sides. We call them the extremes. They do. And so I think this is trolling. I think it's bringing a lot of people out. But I don't think there's such a thing as bad press. So I think it's interesting that he's talking about Q and specifically adds the plus. I could say. And he also comes from a family lineage that has, there's like 5 families or something close to that like pretty much own California. He's one of those families. Pelosi's are too. I mean, there's just, that you don't end up in politics, at least old world, without, being important. Not like a regular person. Jeez. Are you kidding me? Oh, it's disgusting. Horrifying video shows missing child discovered on top of Hershey Park monorail track, nearly 100 feet above. Now, I'm not showing this necessarily to freak you out, but I don't have children, and I can just imagine how terrifying this would be, especially as a parent. You're like, where's Johnny? Where the hell's Johnny? And then all of a sudden, you look up on the monorail, and Johnny's walking, hey, da, 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 da. You'll see. Oh my God, terrifying, right? How terrifying would this be? One of these had the actual video. Where the hell are you? There you are. I think. We'll see. It's so challenging, so difficult these days. Let's refresh. Maybe I can do it better that way. Of course, it's TikTok, right? But here you go. Oh, where's sound? This is painful.
Keep walking.
Stop! Keep going! No, keep going! No, this way! Yes! Oh my God.
And my name's Forrest Gump, and I started walking on the... How the hell do you end up there? How? Did the stork bring you in? What the how the shit does that happen? Ow. Is there a way to get back? You suck. Nah, it's not even fun. That you can't let me get back there. Yeah. How the shizzle does that happen? Yay! Well, this kid, and then he's like, tries to walk away from the people, like, Anyway, sorry. It's one of those things where I'm shocked on so many levels. Like, there's like dimensional damage. It's fantastic. Whoops. I think I had a what we call Telegram pulled up. Where the shit are you? Anyway, let's see if I can open this story, though. That's the challenge at the moment. Oh, we're having a little internet issue. I see the glitches. We'll just edit that out.
Bravo! Bravo! Hi, Mr. President.
I don't even remember. I don't even remember what I was talking about or thinking about when I started this, because it literally took so long to load this. Every once in a while, it's funny. My internet's still doing it, so we'll see how other pages handle at the moment. It happens every once in a while. Usually, it's like a momentary glitch. Yeah, my modem's fine. That's sometimes, that's just like, empty. It's like, oh, that's the problem. But anyway, we'll figure it out. But that said, Trump was out and about. Oh, by the way, showing himself. He looks. Is the real Trump that fat? Anyway, he's supposed to be showing that he's okay. I don't think the real Trump is necessarily in bad health. But man, if this is the real Trump, this is. Wow. Wow. Normally he's a suit jacket on, right? Or sitting down. So maybe he has put on some serious pounds. Poor Melania. No, keep your underwear on, sir. Thank you. The royal underwear. Anyway. Yeah. That poor page. I don't know if that's ever coming up. We'll see. So some crazy coming. All right. And I think a lot of people are wondering how this is going to play out. But judge blocks Trump administration's expansion of the fast-track deportations. Federal judge halted the Trump administration's attempt to expand fast-track deportations across the United States, ruling that the policy violated illegal immigrants' constitutional rights to due process. And I don't know, kind of bugged me for a second when I thought about it. I'm like, wow, how does it violate their constitutional rights? Do they have constitutional rights? Now, to my understanding, they have constitutional rights if they have a green card or something to that effect, because we're essentially allowing them as custodians into our great land. We are allowing you a period of time that you essentially are a quasi-citizen, and bestoweth upon thee with that you shall receive some rights. But when you're here illegally, completely illegally, in no way have you been allowed here. Well, you don't really have that as a crutch anymore. You know what I mean? In fact, when you look at the Constitution, there's a few things they talk about: citizen. Well, I mean, what is a citizen? That's going to be one thing they're going to have to decide in the Supreme Court ultimately. But the Ninth Amendment, I'm wondering. I'm not a constitutional scholar. I don't even pretend to be one. I'm like Forrest Gump, and sometimes I fall into something and just play it out well. Thank you. It's like my peas and carrots. But the Ninth Amendment does say something interesting. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Retained strikes me from their legal standpoint and an interesting angle. If you're imprisoned, are you now endowed those rights? Hopefully I'm using words correctly. But have those rights been given to you? Because you are now in jail. Now, I'm going to say they probably shouldn't and don't, because that would be weird that as a criminal you somehow gain rights the second we try to kick you out or whatever. But again, interesting argument. We'll see. I mean, some of you guys hit me up in the chat how I'm wrong. Tell me, Dan, you're an idiot. That's okay. Cool. Give me an example why, at least. Not just a blanket statement. That's too easy. United States Citizenship and Immigration Services is changing its policy manual to prevent green card holding non-citizens in the United States who voted in elections or attempted to register to vote from receiving citizenship under new guidelines. If you, as a non-citizen, green card holding, not citizen, and it says specifically in the paperwork when you get your green card, you're not allowed to vote in elections. At least federal elections. State elections, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they don't state it that, I mean, it's probably just elections, probably what it says, but whatever. But definitely not federal. This is going to be a problem for their deep state little push, right? So now, in fact, they are going to kick these people out, deport them. They've got a list of people that have voted, green card holders. Think of how many people are like, oh, shit. Yeah. You broke the law. Not only did you break the law, but you broke the law. Again, you're a guest of our great land. And we're all trying each other out right now when you got a green card. Otherwise, you're trying to become a citizen, hopefully with your green card. Again, my girlfriend came in the same way. She fights the same way. She feels it, you know what I mean? President Trump's going to be surging hundreds of DHS agents into Chicago. There's a lot of people that have opinions about this. They've got a Navy base over there, by the way, that they're going to use to help detain, because there's probably going to be legal issues also brought up there about deporting these people. But a Navy base has probably a runway, most likely. It's a Navy, it should. And they'll be able to deport people plane-wise. They're probably a runway that's of significant size, too, because they've got to be able to take in cargo jets. That's how they replenish a lot of their stuff, especially special stuff, special. California's Newsom tells Trump to send soldiers to Louisiana and to Mississippi. And so he's trying to play this big thing up like, we don't need them here in California because I'm already taking care of that, which is great. I hope he does. I doubt we'll see a difference. We'll see. But what's funny is people are like, yeah, we'll call your bluff. Here's Senator Kennedy. Pretty much doing, I think, exactly that right here on Fox News with the chick that was, was Brett Baer. Why are you being such a douchehole? Here you go. Just try it. But yeah, she's the Brett Baer girl. Anyway, don't get me started. This is about Kennedy right now, Dan. Not about her. She's got beautiful eyes. Pisses me off kind of a little. But Kennedy. Talking about National Guard in Louisiana. He's like, hell yeah, I'd take that.
Louisiana Senator John Kennedy is joining us now. He serves on the Judiciary Committee. Sir, welcome to you and good to have you here. So, Senator, do you want to see the National Guard sent into Chicago?
Well, I would prefer to have them invited. But if I could, Sandra, I want to make a comment, a rare note of gratitude to Governor Newsom. He has surprised all of us and done something intelligent. He has decided to send the state police, California State Police, into his major cities to help local cops fight crime and violence. Now, you don't have to be a senior at Caltech to know that that's in response to the Trump administration's threat to send in federal law enforcement officials. But look, I'll take it. If that's what it takes to get Governor Newsom to stop being a princess, I'll take that too.
Well, he seems to be calling out your state, and he's saying, hey, look at the red states and the crime that they're dealing with. Here he is yesterday during that presser. Listen.
If he is to invest in crime suppression, I hope the President of the United States would look at the facts. Just consider Speaker Johnson's state and district. Just look at the murder rate. That's nearly 4 times higher than California's in Louisiana.
How do you respond to the governor on that?
I welcome help. I welcome federal help. I welcome more state help. I welcome local help. Come on down. Look, I've watched Governor Newsom for years. And to quote one of my favorite columnists, he's put the funk into dysfunction. Every year that he's been governor, crime and violence has gotten worse in California. Why? Because Governor Newsom is a member of the socialist wing of his party. Because Governor Newsom has refused to get up off his ice-cold, lazy butt and do something about it. Because Governor Newsom thinks that talking about crime, he's only doing it under pressure, is racist. Because he thinks that cops are a bigger problem than criminals. But I want to give him credit. Maybe he's had a conversion, but he's doing the right thing by sending in California State Police, and even a blind chicken finds a mealworm now and then.
Well, we have had a handful, more, I should say, on this show and across this network of Chicago residents, some registered Democrats, who have come on and said, please send in the help. Here's just some of them. Listen.
This is my real life. I've lost an uncle to Chicago crime. I've lost 2 first cousins to Chicago crime. I've lost distant family members, friends, neighbors. And what they want us to do is find comfort in this chaos and normalize this trauma. And we're not doing it anymore.
Just last night at 3 a.m. in the morning, down the street from me, I heard 7 gunshots. It's no way Brandon Johnson or Governor Pritzker would allow their family to go through the things that they know we are going through.
You hear that, Senator, and you have to wonder why Democrats think it's politically savvy to tell those people your concerns don't matter. That city doesn't need the help. Governor Pritzker posts a beautiful video on the lakefront in Chicago and says, this is the beautiful city that we live in, not acknowledging the crime that they're living and feeling every single day. Final thought from you, Senator.
People want to be safe, whether they live in Chicago or Louisiana. It's undeniable that Chicago has a crime problem. It's one of the world's largest outdoor shooting ranges. One of the biggest risks in Indiana is stray bullets coming over from Chicago. I said yesterday, even the mafia is leaving Chicago because of crime. If I were the governor and mayor and I had a problem like this, I would welcome all the help I could get, including but not limited to law enforcement officials from the federal government.
So to be clear, you would welcome the National Guard coming into Louisiana?
In a skinny minute.
Copy that.
Any help they want to give us, we will gladly take.
Got it. Senator, always good to have you on the program. Thank you very much.
I wish I could say the same about you, person in Fox News that's friends with Trump is dead, trends are saying. He's dead, folks. His health is out of control. His numbers are crashing. Yeah, whatever. Again, they're going to say it. You're going to believe it. You're going to not believe it. Charlie Kirk's posting this just to make it feel better. It's one of those things that I think a lot of people are tripping on right now, and I just think this is part of a bigger change, and I think this is less of a problem. I think too many people are focused on this from a very old world standpoint, and that can mean what it does. And I do think the world is changing, whatever that means to you. And so my opinion is this is one of those funny little numbers that really causes consternation in some, and others are like, we can make that up later, right? I mean, there's not as huge a problem, I don't think, as it could be. We don't want a bunch more kids, and here's an example of, I think, why. Birth rates are falling more steeply, interestingly, among progressives than conservatives. There's some weird-ass poll from the U.S. General Social Survey and World Values Survey based on prior work by Fider et al. 2018. Apparently, it's declining. Progressive birth rates have almost plummeted below 1.8%, while conservative birth rates have remained at a steady almost 4%. And this was recently-ish. Developed world average, this was the U.S. that I gave you first. Developed world is doing the same, though, by the way. About a 2% birth rate on the conservative, around 1.6 on the progressive. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's give it up for the bride and the groom. Back in the day. I hated doing those things so much. Can't even tell you. One of these days I'll talk about it more and bug you. Trump's global tariff ruled illegal by Washington Appeals Court. But I don't think they've stopped him per se. They know this is going to go up to the Supreme Court. What he did is he sent it back down to the lower courts, and he's like, look, you've got to be specific about who the plaintiffs are. Is it everybody or just the people within there? And if they open it up to everybody, it's going to instantly fail on the appellate court, I think. And so this might be a trick, but we'll see. And I think it's an interesting move by the appellate court. So a lot of people can be pissed about it. And honestly, this needs to get to the Supreme Court anyway, because I think Trump will get there. Trump's got a lot that I'm going to have to read in about 400 seconds, that is going to suggest how he feels about tariffs. And I personally, I agree with Trump. I don't know this stuff. I actually think Trump has been so bastardized and attacked that I feel that to a large extent in my own life and world, and I don't want to make myself but it's like I've experienced a lot of weird stuff. Like it's an interesting experience, but we're all fighting the fight, right? So Trump, he truths out few things, lots of things, bunches of things, but these are relevant. All tariffs are still in effect, he says. Today, a highly partisan appeals court incorrectly said that our tariffs should be removed, but they know the United States of America will win in the end. If these tariffs ever went away, it would be a total disaster for the country. It would make us financially weak, and we have to be strong. The USA will no longer tolerate enormous trade deficits and unfair tariffs and non-tariff trade barriers imposed by other countries, friend or foe, that undermine our manufacturers, farmers, and everyone else. If allowed to stand, this decision would literally destroy the United States of America. And the start of this Labor Day weekend, we should all remember that tariffs are the best tool to help our workers and support companies that produce great made-in-America products. For many years, tariffs were allowed to be used against us by our uncaring and unwise politicians. Now, with the help of the United States Supreme Court, we will use them to the benefit of our nation to make America rich and strong and powerful again. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Mark Levin had something to kind of chime in on this, and I think it's actually, I wish I had the audio of it, frankly. But he says the appellate court majority tariff decision was wrong. The appellate court majority that ruled against most of the president's tariffs has it wrong. Whether you like tariffs or not, the act at issue does, in fact, grant the president broad powers to declare an emergency. Even more, the Constitution, under Article 2, grants the president broad powers to make foreign policy. The president's lawyers are obviously aware of this, which is why the executive order at issues rely, in part, on serious foreign policy considerations, including, as an example, Mexico, Canada, and China, which the president has determined are not doing enough to prevent the flow of deadly drugs into our country. The combination of broad authority and Article 2 power trump the issues raised by the court's majority. Moreover, judges should not be the final decision makers about such matters, as they're exercising authority that was never delegated to them. And they should not substitute their own policy preferences for the president's. The check here is Congress. That is, if it wishes to amend the law or pass a new law curbing the president's power here. That said, Congress does not have boundless power, and it could run into separation of power issues given Article 2 and the president's foreign policy authority. The Supreme Court will, once again, rule on this. In the past, Justice Thomas, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh have noted the broad authority of the president in circumstances similar to this. I expect Justice Alito would concur, calling it out in a big way. And then he even posted earlier today, without tariffs and all of the trillions of dollars we have already taken in, our country would be completely destroyed, and our military power would be instantly obliterated. In a 7-4 opinion, the radical left group of judges didn't care, but one Democrat, Obama appointed, actually voted to save our country. I would like to thank him for this courage. He loves and respects the USA. He's actually calling out one of the 4 that was actually a liberal. He's like, all right, you can stay. The other 3, we'll somehow figure out how to get them on a plane that somehow stops flying. I'm kidding. He wouldn't do that. It's wrong. Donald Trump truth this as well. Voter ID must be part of every single vote. No exceptions. I will be doing an executive order to that end. Also, no mail-in voting except for those that are very ill, and the faraway military use paper ballots only. President Trump. Now, he's talking about the absentee versus mail-in. Mail-in voting, just so we all get the semantics right, because it's important, too, when we have our conversations with other friends of ours. But mail-in voting means just everybody and their mother gets something mailed to them. In fact, it could be anybody. You could request it simply, like, hey, send it to this address. I've moved for the moment. Like, you don't have to provide any information or any verification or anything. So lots of fake ballots got generated that way. And they use them. And this really makes that difficult. So, yeah, and paper is another concept because it's really difficult to cheat at that point. Trump says he will issue an executive order and require voter ID. The mouth has been shot. Oh, I don't know what happened. Yes, voter ID, part of everything. He's going to, I look forward to when he does it. I mean, we keep talking about it. Well, this is probably going to be an interesting week, right? Because we already got a bunch of stuff lined up in the courts and everything else. Trump actually, he's fired the remaining VOA, Voice of America workers. You know, the one that Carrie Lake, she's in a lawsuit right now with the district court somewhere. They're really mad at her too, by the way. And she's trying to fire like a couple of the execs or one of the execs or something fun like that. Then this is like, he's just like, all right, well, you worry about that. We're going to go ahead and fire everybody else in the meantime. Thanks. I appreciate your attention to this matter. That's going to become a joke word, or at least, it should be on a t-shirt for friggin' sure. I'll tell you that much. Healthy Home, just an incredible product, or sense of products, small number of products. That's one thing I like about them. I'm sharing the Root brands later because they got a lot of products, but again, just bitchin' ass products. These guys are simple. They keep it sweet, and I like that. You know, I mean, they'll probably add stuff. I'm not trying to take that away from them, but Stem Active, I remember to take mine this morning. Stem Active, it's just your stem cells. It helps your stem cell count increase naturally within your own body by about 25 to 40%. It doesn't put stem cells into you. Your body creates more of them naturally. As we age, that kind of slows down. So a lot of the things like rheumatoid arthritis or different kinds of arthritis, maybe not specifically rheumatoid, I don't know enough about the arthritises, but it's a lot of it's like an infection, and there's some swelling, you know, there's things like that. This actually is helpful because it brings in more stem cells in your body. The stem cells are the cells that can become like other cells. You got like joint cells, cartilage cells, you got all sorts of different kinds of cells that are happening all over our bodies. This actually helps you create more of those cells. More of the cells that can become anything. I like to call them androgynous cells. It just makes it sound funny to me, but they're like, hello, they can be anything they want, right? Like lung, muscle, skin, right? Like you have a gash. Well, you want to have more stem cells right now because you're trying to replace that skin that just got jacked, right? Well, if it's outside, it's cool, but if it goes, down further, yeah, obviously there's damage. Or if you've had surgeries, those are severe types of healings. But when you need more healing, the stem cells are huge. Ladies, change. I'm just hearing. You're going through that. It's hot, cold. It's like I'm angry all the time. Like some frustrations. There's no synthetic hormones in this, but ladies are talking about how it's really just helping. It's balance. It's helping bring back, relationships are feeling better, right? Like you're able to talk to other people. You're able to empathize a little better than you were before. Your husband's not always the biggest dickhole. Not always. Sometimes you need a little help, though, when you're going through that big change. And this is some of us say aging. Part of aging, I don't know, many say aging sucks. It doesn't have to, but it tends to, especially if we're not eating well. We got a lot of food that's missing all the nutrient deficient foods. What I wanted to say. Maybe I need to get more balance. Who knows? But you put a little on your wrist. It's transdermal lotion. A little bit, and then you just rub your wrists together, and you're like, ha! And then you feel better. Like, there you go. Life's better. Life's great. Amaze is collagen. It's a peptide. It is the best way to do collagen. Girlfriend's double dosing on this. She's loving it. Hair's been fantastic. I will admit, I just found one hair the other day, but that was like the first. Like normally, that was like a daily. She'd leave a hair. And if she knew that I saw it, or if that she sees it, she'd freak out. Right? So it's like I always just try to like secretly grab them and like deal with them. I don't want them to stay in the car because they're good God, right? But that said, it happens, right? It's the world we live in. Collagen peptides. She's not feeling skin, sagging bone, skin, joints, muscles, all these things. Collagen's a big part of that. It's huge. Prime is amazing. Expands your vessels, right? It's a nitric oxide booster. It makes your blood vessels like get a little boosted, and from that you get more energy, and that's what it does. It's a trip. It's really cool. Works very quickly. Powder, delicious, more energy, and then stem active for your dogs and cats. Come on now, it's chewable. Right? Find a way to give it to them, but it's going to help them. It helps do the same thing in them that it does in you. It's about half the price, too, of what you pay for an adult human. That's craziness. But you want to go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Or said a fun, different way, danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Great products, guys. It'll make a huge difference in you. There's a few ways you can join. If you like this product a lot, you can buy as a customer if you want to try it. But if you like it a lot, you can actually become a member or an executive member, and you can actually sell it to other people and make a little small commission, especially you people that have your content creators. You have your own websites. You have your own stuff. You just have to buy a package of product. And there's some basic stuff all the way up to some really great buys where you get free shipping for life and all sorts of great stuff. So executive membership is also a recommendation. You can go under join and all that. danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. All right, we spent a lot of time on that, but it's cool. Florida is probe. They've uncovered, migrant commercial driver's license testing. They're cheating. Literally going in with your things, like me, when I'm like, oh, speed up on this? Okay. When I've got my help. CDL, same thing. They literally had little earbuds, and people were feeding them information. They were cheating. They had cameras. They could show the question. I don't know how they're doing all this. They probably have technology, because I would assume you have to surrender your cell phone. So anyway, there's an examination or investigation going into it. Interesting set of numbers on this particular story. Multi-vehicle crash. Again, horrible. I hate this. Injuries, 17. And they shut down major interstate in East Texas. Again, these things, this is AP, by the way. Was it actually 17, literally? Why do they always choose these numbers? Again, a lot of us are all, it's Q. No, there's a fight over these numbers is what it is. Many people don't really get that. So here's the AP using it. They're not using it to try to help you. Gavin Newsom's not using it to try to help you. These people are using it against us, or trying to. What they're trying to do is take back possession of something that we sort of took from them. 6 of one, half a dozen the other. It depends how you look at it. Newsom faces backlash. He was mocking prayer of children shot by the trans gunman. That's just powerful stuff that these people are all getting beat up on. These children were literally praying as they got shot at. Again, I'm going to say 116 bullets were fired, and it could have been way worse than it was. So prayer is pretty awesome. And like this pastor said, I don't know which one it was, Roman Catholic Bishop Robert Barron, I guess, these kids died in a church. They died as martyrs. That should never be mocked. Right? So, again, he just got hit by the Catholic Church. Gavin Newsom, ouch. Because, again, Pelosi, she's Italian, Catholic. Newsom, he's a Catholic. A lot of these people are tied to the Catholic Church or the Jesuits or whatever. You guys can say it however you want. It's fine. California's going to provide Kamala Harris with security now that Trump has fired them. So that's good. Thanks, Newsom. We want to pay for her security too because we got nothing else to pay for. It's cool. Yeah, no, I mean, hey, we just don't like you already a bunch. So let's take it one extra step. And again, Kamala Harris is part of that family structure thing. I think she kind of BJ'd her way into it, sort of, but whatever. She's in there. Denver school accused of violating Title IX over all-gender restroom, which is messed up in and of itself. What's really messed up, though, they only got rid of all female bathrooms and then made them transgender. They got rid of all the female, but they left male bathrooms. But all the female bathrooms got removed. Yeah, it's just like, I even for Denver or for Colorado, it's like, really? You guys really are okay with that? Or like you just so on board with your party? Like that blows my mind. That blows my mind. People need to be making ripples out there somehow so other people feel safe to stand up. Remember how to start a movement? Well, some of our states need some ripple makers or at least some ripple help or some how to start a movement help. Half of America's schools require equitable grading, and most teachers are opposed to this, yet they keep pushing, and this is in New York. And a lot of this is around mathematics. 95% of its high school freshmen were behind in math by 3 or more grade levels. Everybody can be like, but math is unfair, math is racist. Okay, but here's the thing. Math is used in every other country to make scientific things. You can call it whatever you want. I don't give a shit. It's used. People used to ask me, why do you take calculus? So you can actually figure stuff out. You learned all the other mathematics you learned so you could learn calculus. And then you could start to actually figure shit out. Before that, in a perfect world, no wind resistance, no this, no that. Yeah, sure, but that's not real. Calculus, that's real world. And the numbers would show up most of the time. So it's a little different, right? So math is where we're failing. And this was how they were destroying us, the Western world specifically. And they're doing it through this transgender DEI, nonsense, right? Baltimore real estate facing a black swan event. It finally, they continued to push up the value of real estate in Baltimore, acting like the crime wasn't really happening, the level of inflation, it went up, blah, blah, blah. And they kept the numbers kind of going, but it finally hit a point where they're like, dude, you guys realize how much crime there is, right? Like, we're not just going to keep giving you money or higher values. It's not worth more. So literally, they've finally started to depreciate. Now, it's Baltimore. Not a big shock. They're calling it Black Swan. All right, we'll see. It's definitely Black Swan in the sense, in my opinion, that this is one of the first cities to start to fall, and others will. Trump has shut down the money spigot, especially to all the crazy BS places. So that's also going to be powerful in the bigger picture. I got Bhattacharya here talking about, I think the censorship. I forget exactly. I forget, it doesn't have it subtitled in there at all, but we've got these events that have been going on. We've got the Democrats kind of trying to play their hand, and they've been used to controlling the information. Again, like Newsom's doing interesting stuff. The Q thing's kind of fun. He's got this new guy. I mean, he's the only one that seems to have kind of got it figured out on their side. I mean, again, we'll see. He's finally going after crime, but he needs numbers to show not just reduction, and I think he's actually covering up. He's covering up with the crime thing he's doing, and then he's going to lie about the numbers. But people that live there will tell the truth. And Gavin Newsom will be called out for what he is, or they'll catch him in the act, or we'll see. But he's one of the smarter ones so far. I'd be, keep him in your sights, I guess, would be a way to say that. I got to play this. I love this, and I'm going to play it at 1.25 speed. But this is Johnson, Speaker Johnson, talking to CNN. He covers a lot of cool questions, and I think we've got a lot going on. He's someone I think has got his finger on the pulse to a degree. A lot of people are fighting over whether or not he's the right choice, wrong choice. I don't know, whatever. I think he's probably the best choice in there right now, frankly. I don't know who else could pull it off. Massey, or not Massey, the blonde guy, whatever. Obviously, John, there's a few of them. Johnson's in the Senate. There's two dudes, the wrestler and the guy with the white friggin' hair that's younger. I can't remember either of those dudes. And Comer, there you go. And good Lord, why can't I remember a wrestling friend? Whatever the case is, those guys would be good, but they're actually really good in the committees they're in. You know what I mean? Johnson's really good at herding cats. It's painful to get to that. Holy shit. Anyway, here's CNN talking to this guy. Hey.
All right, Congress back in session next week with a lot on their plate. No one knows that better than the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who is here with us now. Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
Just a few days ago, President Trump on social media said that he's putting together a comprehensive crime bill with you and Leader Thune over in the Senate. That came as a surprise to a few people. What details can you give us about what's in this bill?
Well, we're putting together the components of that. The first thing to remember is that we cannot allow crime to devastate, ruin our great cities in America, certainly not the greatest capital in the world. And so we've got to end the crime wave. We've got to clean up the city, and we've got to make sure that it shines as it should, as the nation's greatest nation's greatest capital. So we'll begin to do that. You'll see some components of legislation that will come forward to address the juvenile crime wave that's happening there.
It's a D.C. crime bill, not a comprehensive crime bill?
Well, it'll be both. It'll be components. We're going to handle D.C. first because that's directly within our purview, and then look to other cities around America as well. We've got to also end these policing policies that have prevented law enforcement from actually keeping safety on the streets for residents and victims, visitors who become victims. And that's an important thing to do. Sometimes local governance does not do the job, and the oversight in D.C. is long overdue.
I was going to ask when you might be calling for the National Guard in Shreveport, which is, you have part of your district is Shreveport. The FBI statistics, actually violent crime per 100,000 residents, higher in Shreveport last year than Washington, D.C.
There's a lot of good work that's been done. There's a lot of reasons for that. But we have a Democrat DA there who has not been prosecuting crime as some other more aggressive DAs have around the country. Soros funded that individual to be elected. But I'll say that, it's an urban area that has a lot of problems that are happening around the country, and we have to address it.
So will the Guard help? If the Guard can help in D.C., the president has said he wants to send the Guard to Chicago and other places. Why not Shreveport?
I don't know. That's not my call.
Would you
may be necessary. Well, I don't know. Let's take one city at a time and see. We have to address the crime problem in any city where it's a problem like that. And in large cities like in Chicago, as you mentioned, that would be a big help there. I was there just 2 days ago, and it's a serious, serious problem. They don't even report murders on the evening news in Chicago anymore because it's so common. And Democrat-run cities typically have that problem because they have not been tough on crime. President Trump is one who believes in that, and we do as well. And we've got to take every measure to make sure we're keeping American cities safe. It's common sense.
I want to ask you about some foreign policy here. It's 2 weeks to the day since President Trump met with Vladimir Putin in Alaska. After that meeting, after he met with Zelensky a few days later, he came out and said the big achievement from that was he was setting up a one-on-one between Zelensky and Putin. Mm-hmm. That hasn't happened. Right. Russia has given no indication it's about to happen. In the meantime, they just launched their second largest aerial assault on Ukraine since the war began. Are you satisfied with this progress?
Well, I'm satisfied with President Trump's efforts. I mean, he's showing that strength and resolve and direct engagement makes a big difference, and he is a force of nature in that regard. Look at what he's done, negotiating ceasefires and peace deals and normalization of relations of countries that have long been at odds. That's very positive steps on the world stage. So the Russia-Ukraine conflict, as we know, is very complicated. They're moving in the right direction.
You say efforts, though. Wouldn't you like to see results? What results have you seen?
Of course. Everybody around the world would like to see results.
Do you think if Congress passed its own sanctions, it might put pressure on Russia to act in ways that President Trump hasn't been able to get them to?
It may come to that, and I'm in favor of that. I do not trust Vladimir Putin. He is not an honest broker in this. He's a former KGB operative. He's the aggressor here. There's no question about that, and he must be dealt with accordingly. So we'll see how this goes. Ukraine and our European allies and others around the world have extended a hand of peace, moving forward positively, and let's see what happens with that negotiation. We're all prayerful that it resolves quickly, and so is President Trump. He wants an end to the war, and he's the strong force that can help bring it about.
While everyone's been away from Washington, Texas voted to, and I'm going to use the word, gerrymander their district so they get 5 more Republican seats. California made moves that will maybe help them gerrymander so they get 5 more Democratic seats. More states are talking about it. Where do you think this should stop?
Well, I'm not involved in it. The Speaker of the House has no control over some national redistricting strategy. That's the resolve and the decision of the individual states. But I will say there's a big difference between what happened in Texas and California. Gavin Newsom's gambit, which is what it is going to disenfranchise millions of California voters because they all supported their redistricting commission, the Citizens Redistricting Commission. He has to traverse and trample upon or shred his state constitution to do this.
Well, they get to vote on it. They're going to vote on it.
They are, but the way he set that up...
It's not disenfranchising if they can
Well,
vote.
it is, because listen, 43% of the electorate in California is Republican. 14% of their delegation to Congress is Republican. They've already disenfranchised people. They've already gerrymandered. And it's interesting to me that Democrats who have been playing politics with their districting for decades are now trying to lecture the red states and Republicans who are simply following state and federal law. That's what they did in Texas. There's a big difference between what's happening in those states.
You studied the Republicans in California. You know, in Wisconsin, every year it's 50-50 for presidential elections. 2 out of 8 representatives are Democrats, so 25%. In Utah, 37%. About the same.
You want to go state for state because the blue states have eliminated entirely.
But that's what I'm saying. Where does it stop? I think it's ridiculous. I want to know where it stops.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I have a limited scope of authority over these things, and I don't control the governors. If I could get them all in a conference call, I'd say resolve it, gentlemen and ladies, but they don't, and so we'll see where it goes.
If only the Speaker of the House had any authority in this country. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask you about something that you were instrumental, maybe crucial, maybe the singular most crucial person in passing, which is what the president was calling the big, beautiful bill. But he said this week, I'm not going to use that term, great, big, beautiful bill. That was good for getting it approved. It's not good for explaining it to people. I guess my question is, why is it hard to explain to people? Our Harry Etten, who's a numbers guy, a great numbers guy, I'm sure you've seen him, he put together some numbers and said it's among the most unpopular laws passed since 1990, less so than the Affordable Care Act, the bank bailout, and the Republican tax bill of 2017. Why so hard?
I'm not surprised by these numbers at all, because there's been an all-out assault and effort by Democrats and the mainstream media to, frankly, misinform people about what's in a bill. When they take the same polls of the individual provisions of that giant piece of legislation, they're wildly popular. So what happened over the August district work period is Republicans fanned out Senate and House Republicans across the country to all their districts to go and explain exactly the extraordinary things that are in this bill. It's geared and written for lower and middle class earners. They're going to feel the effects of that. We restored American energy dominance, peace through strength, largest tax cuts in U.S. history. People are going to feel that before they vote in that midterm election, and I am very bullish on the outcome of that because they'll see the results.
You brought up polling when they asked people about specific provisions. Fox News, where I think you're headed later, they did ask about specific provisions. Absolutely right. No tax on tips. The majority approved, 70%. Defense spending, majority approved, 61%. Everything else they asked about, though, underwater, right? And EV tax credit underwater, boost Medicare work requirements underwater, increase border wall spending underwater, increase detention center spending underwater, solar and wind incentives end them underwater, reduce SNAP benefits underwater, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm not buying that. Polls can be manipulated. We have seen a string of polls over and over and over that many of those, every one of those provisions, in fact, that you said are popular. We want to reduce fraud, waste, and government, fraud, waste, abuse in government. We want to reduce the size and scope of government. These things, people not in agreement. And I've been in town halls around the country over this break with 12 states in the last week, and people are standing and applauding for what we've done. So look, I tell you, the facts are going to speak for themselves, the results and the things that people experience, and that's why we're excited about the midterms coming up. We're going to win this.
We'll see. Although the president does say there needs to be a language shift, so that does indicate that he's got some concerns there. You went away for the summer a day early because of the Jeffrey Epstein situation. You're going back here. While again Congress was gone, Ghislaine Maxwell talked to the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche. She's in prison for conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to sexually abuse minors. She told Todd Blanche, quote, "I never, ever saw any man doing something inappropriate with a woman of any age. I never saw inappropriate habits." How much weight do you put in the comments of Ghislaine Maxwell?
Not much at all. She has no credibility. She's been convicted for sex trafficking, okay? But we're for maximum transparency. With the Epstein files, I've been saying this for years. We've been intellectually consistent from day one. And over this break, over the last couple of weeks in August, the Department of Justice and the administration have been fully compliant with Congress's subpoenas, and they've submitted over 34,000 Epstein documents already. Our House Oversight Committee is doing their due diligence so that we can release it all. But they're going through carefully to make sure that the victims of these horrific sex crimes, let's be frank about it, are not exposed. They've already been through harm. And we have a responsibility to do that, so it takes a little time. But we're going to put it all out there and let the American people decide.
So the discharge petition from Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, I hope I'm using the right word, will ripen soon?
Well, no, I guess it would if they get the right signature.
If they get a signature,
but it's now a moot point. It's not even necessary. I mean,
you don't think it's going to happen?
There may be a floor vote of one measure or another. We have our own resolutions to do all this, but it's sort of not necessary at the point because the administration is already doing this. They're turning it over.
So I don't think that Congressman Khanna and Massie think that yet, at least from what I've heard. And I don't know that the 218 people that they think they have as signatories of that think that either. If they do get the signatures, will you allow that to come to a vote on the floor?
We might not even wait for that. We have our own resolutions to affect the same thing. But the process is playing out as it should, and very soon the American people will have that information, and they should have had it all along. That's my view.
But you can't guarantee there'll be a vote on the discharge petition.
There probably will be a vote of some sense, but we've got to get everybody collected again and build consensus around that.
Listen, Mr. Speaker, Mike Johnson, a pleasure to have you here. Next time you're in Europe, come back again. Appreciate it.
Love to. Thank you.
Erica?
Just ahead.
Again, a hard job. I think he does a good job. So Manhattan Project in a big way, kind of the point of the thumbnail. This is actually, I think, a bigger deal than a lot of people are going to maybe give it credit. Maybe it's just through the cracks even, who knows. But tech executives are apparently, and this is military.com, I mean, reasonable source, tech executives commissioned as senior Army officers. They're not going to recuse themselves from DoD business. So these guys are being commissioned as senior Army officers. We're talking about some of the top guys in AI. Like, look, I understand you want to stay on the boards of your companies. We get that. We need you to help the military right now, too. So this is an interesting thing. I actually knew somebody, or knew secondhand, I guess, someone that, my brother, that he knew personally. And he did some stuff. Government found out, kind of gave him an option. Either you work for us or you're going to go to jail for a long time. So how things happen are always interesting. But usually there's a bit of a coercive approach. All said, military is commissioning CEOs. And we're talking some of the big ones. I don't know if they actually give names. I would hope not. I would put these guys at great risk. Here it is. The four include Shyam Sankar, Chief Technology Officer for Palantir, Andrew Bosworth, Chief Technology Officer of Meta, Kevin Whale, Chief Product Officer of OpenAI, and Bob McGrew, Advisor at Thinking Machines Lab and former Chief Research Officer for OpenAI. This sounds like a partnership in, like we want to own part of the company. They were like, well, we want a foot in the meeting. We want to be able to talk about what's going on. This is very interesting. Again, I don't know what we'll hear or find out, but that's kind of like a Manhattan Project. We're going huge on AI. We need huge amounts of power. That's something that has to get resolved immediately if they're going to start building up data centers and AI processing centers, which is what they're talking about doing. We need a butt ton of chips, too, which they need to start manufacturing. That hasn't started. So there's a bunch of stuff that needs to happen in a short period of time. And I'm curious, Texas might be an easy place to do some of this because it's got its own power grid. I would say that's one huge advantage that Texas has, is like any power production they bring in there is going to benefit Texas a lot, and they have issues with power for sure. So that would be awesome. And then maybe you try to expand it into some of the other power grids, because there's 3 power grids total, east, west, and then Texas. Don't mess with Texas. Treasury says Chinese money launderers are vital to this cartel of the fentanyl trafficking. So China is sending a bunch of fentanyl here, even though they're like, no, man, we're not doing any of that. And the money laundering to get back into either goods or Chinese yuan or whatever, or stocks. There's probably a lot of things they do to ultimately try to invest that money so it can be useful for them. They're looking into it now. The Treasury Department's revealed in an August 28th advisory the scope of Chinese money laundering networks in the fentanyl crisis. They're saying it's up around $312 billion linked to suspected Chinese money laundering activity around fentanyl. $312 billion. Well, suspicious activity. That's a butt ton of money, though. Again, this is how we're being taken advantage of. This is money that we're probably being jinked out of, and this is not working well. This is not working well in the big picture. So, yes, we got to figure it out. We got to stop it. Fauci under federal investigation for perjury and funneling millions to Wuhan lab. Tulsi says DOJ is closing in. I'm not playing that, unfortunately. Just confirmed Anthony Fauci is officially under federal investigation for perjury and covering up the true origin of the COVID, and truth is finally spilling out. She said Fauci lied to Congress about funding gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab. He covered up COVID's origins and censored dissenting scientists. His infamous 6 feet apart rule wasn't science at all. They literally made it up. He funnels your taxpayer dollars into dangerous biolabs while enriching Big Pharma. Tulsi says this is the biggest political scandal since Russiagate, and the trail leads straight into the Biden administration. This isn't just about Fauci, it's about accountability. By the way, Fauci goes way the hell back before Biden. He's been Republican and Democrat. He's this dude's been there since AIDS, by the way, and there's a lot of fun stories around that. So you guys want to go back and rabbit hole, there's some fun around there with Fauci. Many of you hopefully know that already. But yes, the truth is coming out about the dude. RFK Jr. cancels $122 million in LGBT and diversity grants within the Department of Health and Human Services. Woohoo, right? May not be huge, but 122 million that we could spend on other stuff. Trump's he's moved 4.9 billion, a little better. He's got more places to come out of, but this is through that pocket rescission thing, right? Where he kind of holds on to the money until after the budget expires, and he's like, "Whoops, didn't spend it all. I guess we didn't need it." And that's going to be fun because that's going to go to court. So he'll, to a degree, hang on to the money. I think he's going to send. I think he legally has to send notification to Congress and be like, look, here's the deal. This money didn't get spent, so we're either going to repurpose it or whatever, and then adjust that on your next budget or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. We'll find out. And it'll be friggin-tastic. Trump truthed this out. I used, at the White House, the most beautiful marble and stone available anywhere. Oh, yeah, this is sad. These dudes jacked it up. So sad. Surfaces are very important to me as a builder. As everyone knows, I built great buildings and other things over the years. At the White House, I'm very proud of the beautiful stonework we did in the Rose Garden, in this case, using limestone plus. The Rose Garden is completed and far more beautiful than anyone had ever had in mind when it was conceived of decades ago. 3 days ago, while admiring the stonework, I happened to notice a huge gash in the limestone that extended more than 25 yards long. Wow. It was deep and nasty, and I started yelling, "Who did this? I want to know now." He was pissed. And I didn't say this in a nice manner. He actually said, I was pissed. I wondered, was it vandalism or was it stupidity? Lo and behold, because of the fact that we've installed the finest security equipment anywhere, they brought back the stupid people with their boss watching in sunglasses. It was a subcontractor that was installing heavy landscaping on a steel cart that was broken and tilting badly, with it rubbing hard against the soft, beautiful stone. I love it and respect great workers and contractors, but something like this should never happen. Now, I'll replace the stone, charge the contractor, and never let the contractor work at the White House again. But how great is the video equipment? Now, we've got the video, and it's interesting because this is how Trump manages his business. People used to say he was horrible, but the only people that said that were the people that made mistakes, not people that didn't make mistakes. So this is the thing. I don't know if it matters with the sound. It's a pallet jack, basically, with some heavy stuff on it, bouncing over, and I guess this is limestone, which, wow. And then he scars it right here, so I don't know if they had issues further up or if that just did damage, because I don't know, but that probably took a big chunk out of that section. And then this is the boss, supposedly, doing, well, what bosses do. Most of us have had bosses. Are you always that thing? Oh, I'll plug it, buddy. Stick it up one more time and see what happens. Just kidding, of course, folks. Bill Clinton seen with a defibrillator at the getting off. Where the hell was he getting off? Doesn't matter. It was recently. He was spotted with his supposed wife Hillary. He probably can't stand her. I don't think, even when he was with the real one, I bet he couldn't stand her. She was like hot for about never, not once. Longtime Democratic power couple was photographed Thursday carrying what appeared to be a Propac MD Air medical bag. It's a transport monitor and defibrillator commonly used in emergencies. So anyway, I think we're getting close to seeing Bill Clinton. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people talk about how certain people are already gone. I think we're actually going to see something along those lines happen. The Root Brands. I love these guys. First off, you want to go to therootbrands.com, R-O-O-T, therootbrands.com, /Dan Radio Style. So therootbrands.com, /Dan Radio Style. What's cool is, like, you could live all over the world. This is one of the fun products I have. I typically use this on my other channel. But the Americas, Europe, Africa, Oceania, like everywhere, right? Like, So I live in the Americas. We're going to focus on that at the momento. But they have got some fun products. I just want to run by a couple of them because they've got, well, they've got a bunch. Zero In's one I really, really, really like. Right here. It's like, this is, they're open, right? I got like 3 left on this particular package. One of those actually, I'm just better, fired up, a little faster, a little quicker. I've even done it, like if I'm going to go drinking with the friends, I'll pop one of these, and I don't know, it just kind of gives me a little extra dialed in, a little sharper, a little more coherent. Things are working better. They've got, let's see, they got the coffee, Ram Roast. What is this? They got Pax. Give Me Back My Youth is actually really good. It's a collagen colostrum supplement. It's something you got to blend. They got a bunch of blend stuff. And it's one of the things that's hard for me sometimes. Like, I don't like to blend, but those of you that do blend or like to make smoothies and stuff like that, you got to get this stuff. This stuff's like making a huge difference. So the Give Me Back My Youth specifically, maybe not through this necessarily this mixture here, but that product is incredible. Also, the Clean Slate's incredible. It gets like heavy metals and stuff out of your body. You just put some drops, and it actually helps pull a lot of this stuff out of your body. And you continue using this over time, you'll be surprised how much of that crap you're going to pull out. And you will notice, but passive cleansing uses bioavailable silica. It increases absorption, and it reduces inflammation. So a lot of good things, especially maybe even arthritis and stuff. Clean Slate's helping. It's helping get that stuff out. You got to flush that stuff out. You got to make sure you're drinking enough water. But this is also going to help with that process of having, essentially, your body's like a chemistry set, and you got to make sure you got enough of the different ingredients to be able to manufacture the stuff you need to manufacture. And sometimes we're just missing ingredients, and we can't manufacture things we need, and we start to experience discomfort because of it. Again, Zero N right here. This is just the product itself. Restore is awesome. It's really good. Supports bone health, healthy gut biome, a lot of good things. Blood pressure, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory. Again, arthritis is going to be benefited by Restore. It's a liquid. It's delicious, actually. It's very delicious. Trinity Pack gets you the Clean Slate, the Restore, and the Zero N, right? These 3 products, really cool. That's a good pack, actually. It's one of my favorite, the Trinity Pack, and it just sounds cool. I don't know why. Dr. Ram, he's got his own pack. He's got the Relive Greens. Relive Greens is another one of those blendy things. It's incredible. It's got like every vitamin and mineral you could possibly want. It's like vegetables that have been ground down into powder somehow. And then you just drop a scoop of that into your smoothie. It'll turn it green, but you've got all the goodness in there, right? Give Me Back My Youth. We talked about this earlier. Collagen, colostrum. You want to throw that in there as well. I would do a scoop. Right? Crush is another one if you work out. It's all your amino acids and all that stuff. Throw a scoop of that in there, right? Sculpt. I think that, Sculpt is the pill because I got that guy here. I like this one. It helps you, the way you deal with sugar. Your body processes sugar slightly differently. And it helps one, deal with like whether you get hungry, but 2, how your body actually processes sugar while it's in there. And alcohol falls into that category too, by the way. So, yeah, it's interesting in helping your body process differently and losing weight, which is a big part of what it's doing. Again, great products. They've got stuff, clean spirits for drinking. Again, this is why I like this company. They get the fact that I'm a guy on the go. You know what I mean? Drink a little too much. Clean spirits is one of these things that you can, good morning minerals, like this one here. You pop this, a little of the spirits. You don't drink it, like just a couple drops. It actually makes a difference. And their skincare products, again, bar none. They just, what they do perfectly. And so again, this is a mixture of all sorts of stuff, but yeah, they got stuff for the coat, the pets, like they spray this on the coat and it helps them from infrared and all that stuff, the wireless, all the electromagnetic crap that happens. This Koto helps your dogs and cats. You spray it on them and it helps protect them. Again, just amazing products. TheRootBrands.com/Dan Radio Style. TheRootBrands.com/Dan Radio Style. Which government holds the most Bitcoin? This is very interesting to me anyways. 198,000. I assume that's actual Bitcoin, which is a butt ton. That's worth about $23.5 billion. That's the United States. So that, I think, helps stabilize Bitcoin to a point. And then China, they've got 190,000, almost the same. That's crazy, right? But at the same time, they don't sell it per se, which works out well. UK, Ukraine, they come in next too. Looks like North Korea, El Salvador and Bhutan, which is interesting, are also high. Why Bhutan? That would indicate to me like criminal stuff going on there. Anyway, this is when it's not like the countries are buying it per se. It's that they have criminals or whatever, that they've taken all their funds and assets, and Bitcoin happens to be some of their money. And yeah, they don't have that anymore. So unfortunate for them. Gold and silver finished off strong for the week. It's trippy. Silver at 40.75, almost 41. Many talking 50 as the first jump that we're supposed to see, which is supposed to make you concerned. Again, DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Gold over 3,500. Both of these are records. Craziness. We'll see what happens with them next week. I'm sure they'll try to bring them down a little bit, but I don't think they'll stay down. I think they're going up. I think that's what we're going to see, too. An experience of that. Parties commit to speaking only positive about migration. This is some weird thing that Germany's doing to try to make sure all the political parties don't say anything mean about immigrants. Technically, I think they call it illegal when they do it. It's just craziness that's going on in my personal opinion. Maduro is staging military show of force in Venezuela as all of our warships are nearby. I wish I had a picture up. There it is. Is it just me, or does he kind of have that Saddam Hussein sort of look about him? Do you think that's an accident? Do you think they cast him that way for a reason? I mean, I can't really see him right now because his entire body's in camouflage minus just his Saddam Hussein-looking head. But that part of him very much looks like Saddam Hussein, I think. Some gentleman that's screaming. That's interesting. That is like a vein, dude. I don't even want to know. Former Ukrainian parliamentary speaker. This guy was anti-Russian. He was pro the European Union coup. He was before they threw out Viktor Yanukovych. We've talked about that was the one that Biden was talking about during the Obama administration. This guy that was very heavily involved just had a dude riding on one of them electric bikes, killed him badly. I think he shot him multiple times, I think. And then fled the scene, like a delivery person, looked just like one. And so just smoked this dude in daylight, right in the middle of the day. I mean, yeah, there you go. Yeah, careful who you are and where you are. Russia launches mass drone and missile strike on southern Ukraine. They're not stopping. Germany, well, they've given up on the idea of sending troops into Ukraine. They're like, no. I think Russia said something to the effect of, you put German troops there, we'll go to war with you. And they're like, well, we were just kidding. I mean, we'll never give you oil again or something, because really Germany's in a painful place. And energy's really what's jacked them, it's killed them, they've screwed them. So hopefully they can get their friendship back with Russia soon, because they need their oil. It was cheap, they had a pipeline, life was good, life was great. Houthis confirm prime minister and top officials killed in massive Israeli strike. So we talked about this attack on Friday. It seems as though it did, in fact, do some pretty hardy damage. We don't have full effects, but there is some of dead people that they've come out and said, yeah, you killed our prime minister, Ahmed al-Rahawi, and the most senior Houthi official to have been slain in the ongoing conflict thus far. We don't know about others. We're supposedly some people around him. Yada, 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 they would say. Disclosed TV, so give it a little bit of grain of salt. Israel weighs West Bank annexations in response to Palestine recognition push. Because these countries are talking about giving the Palestinian states legs, they're talking about maybe we'll give them this small little section. So I don't know what they're doing, don't know what's going on, don't want to pretend to understand this. I'm waiting for it to resolve itself, frankly, when it comes to this. Frankly, Israel was given the stuff way back, 1912, and the, I forget the something accord, whatever it was at the moment. I sometimes remember it, whatever. But this whole thing really didn't exist before. There's a Bible that says it should, but if they did once have that land, it seems as though from the standpoint of prior to 1912, they had definitely lost it. That all said, these tend to be the same people that are in Ukraine right now that are claiming that Russia should give back land that it actually owns, which is Ukraine. And I think that's what literally Russia's doing, is denazifying Ukraine, removing the Ukrainian mafia, removing that aspect from Ukraine. Ukraine it means the translation of it is border. And so the Ukraine was frequently referred to as the Ukraine because it was the border. It was a thing. And that had sort of been changed. In Russia's part, like the way everything's written legally, Ukraine is still it's part of that former larger Russia or Soviet Union or whatever the case was. They never really officially annexed out of that. So there's a lot of interesting stuff that's going to be coming from this. I mean, again, like our situation with the Supreme Court and stuff, right? How so many things are going to be resolved and we're going to be like, cool, finally, it's like it's in stone, it's codified, as we like to say. I think other parts of the world are experiencing the same kinds of aspects of that. And hopefully the Chinese people are gaining freedom from the Communist Chinese Party. But Russia certainly has been playing, I think, an admirable role. Whether Putin's a nice guy or not, I don't even get into it. I think Russia's a great country. They're a large country, and their technology is pretty incredible as well. So we can't ignore them. China's the same, right? And there's a few other countries that we sort of, be like, all right, yeah, you're cool and you're smart. You don't have enough stuff to really threaten anybody else, but you do make some really cool stuff. For about 4 seconds, you'd be superior, and then you would no longer be. Southwest Airlines begins flying the first plane with a secondary cockpit barrier. My guess is this is for all the pilots that are not funny, that are on Southwest. There's a few of them. Most of them are pretty good. Some of the pilots, well, this is your pilot speaking. Outside, you'll notice there's no pink zebras because they don't exist. Like, dude, not that was real life. I was just making one up. That said, they might borrow it. So they've got an extra layer of protection now. I don't know what the hell that's going to be, a face print or some shit. You can smash someone's face up to a thing. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know what's going on. Now they've got 2 doors. How many doors do you need? Are you in the chainsaw section or the non-chainsaw section? No, I brought a chainsaw today. Carry-on chainsaw, though, of course. No, it's not fueled up at the moment. Why does it smell like that? I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it's just residual. You know how that is. Dude. Anyway, they got a double barrier for the funny ones because I'm sure those are the ones that need it. Oh, I got to get in there and see him. I want his autograph. He was so funny. Musk's XAI sues engineer for allegedly taking secrets to OpenAI. Dum, dum, dum. Or should I do the News at 11 one? News at 11, right? Like, either way. XAI filed a lawsuit in California federal courts against former engineer, Xuan Li. He accused him of stealing trade secrets tied to its Grok chatbot. And then he went to another company and took those secrets, and seems like those maybe got incorporated into the new code. Uh-oh. That'd be really weird. Musk is having a hard time in some regards. I almost kind of feel like Boeing. You know what Boeing, they gave Boeing X-47, and I feel like it's because Lockheed should have got it, and they're the best, and they've been making the coolest, best stuff. But it's like, we got to throw Boeing a bone, otherwise they're never going to exist. They're going to die. Their commercial aircraft stuff seems to be having problems. They need money. So the X-47 program was a way to give them money and hopefully, I think, revitalize their commercial air track, which is jobs here in the United States. Making these commercial planes is a big, big damn deal here in the United States. Granted, these planes are made, really, it's like an American car. Your American car is not an American car. It's made from all over the place. In fact, at one point, and my brother-in-law does this kind of stuff for a living, at one point, the Toyota Camry was the most heavily American-made car out of all the cars. The Toyota Camry. Yeah, try that on for size. It's true. I don't know if it's still true. It was within a few years. Musk's AI, though, suing. So we got a bit of a Manhattan Project going on. And it seems that maybe Musk might have put himself outside the circle. And maybe Trump is like, hey, bud, there's only one way you get to play in the sandbox. And if you can't figure out how to do that, you don't get to play in the sandbox. Keep making rockets. You do it great. We love it. Those electric cars are cute. Put an antenna on them. You can do them with a remote control. Sure, it's awesome. Great deal. But the rest of us, we're going to actually do some shit that matters. And so I'm just killing Musk. We'll see how it plays out. I love you guys. We got a music show I'm about to decide in a second. Some of you guys are going to send me emails giving me ideas, but I'll already have made up my mind by the time you send me an email. That said, I love you still. Every one of you guys. We're going through some fun times. Just be anchored in reality as best you can. I know there's a lot of fun stuff to follow. I just did a video. This is for, I don't know. I should talk about it further in the video, but I made one on my other channel, and it's about beliefs. Well, maybe I'll bring it up tomorrow, and then I want to upload it onto my regular platforms, but maybe I don't know, maybe not. It's on my regular Dan RadioStyle channel on YouTube, if you're curious. I just put one up. It was a good show, I thought. It was like 10 minutes long. Pretty short. But I think important and germane to what we're going through right now. So that's just Dan RadioStyle. Type that in YouTube. I will pop up. I think it's just stupid me with my white shirt on or whatever. Like the one that's on my DRS commercial. You guys seen that? You guys have seen that? It's basically this picture. Want to say. That said, I love you. And we're changing the world. And I couldn't do it without you. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.